Victory! The Denver Broncos, for a 6th time in 7 weeks, come out with a dub thanks to another excellent defensive performance. And we're going to break down more of the game, more of the defensive performance. Just how good are the Broncos? Todd's going to take us inside with the inside scoop. Henry Chisholm, Todd Davis, Zach Stevens rolling with you. How are you today, fellas?
Feeling good. It's a good day. Victory Monday. Rocking and rolling. Good start to the week.
Yeah, I think I'm doing good too. I was up a little bit late last night. Oh my goodness. So I decided I was going to play a game of Fortnite and a game of Madden before I came.
Okay.
Fortnite, there's like 8 people left. I jumped off a thing. Apparently it was too tall to jump off of and died. So that sucked. And then Madden, I gave up a field goal to the Niners at the buzzer. And so now I think of it maybe not doing quite so well.
Well, if the Broncos give up a field goal at the buzzer to the Niners this year, that means they're in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So that would be a good spot to be in. You know who else is in a good spot? Quinn Miners. We got some good news from Sean Payton this morning. He has been released from Los Angeles Hospital after spending the night there just to make sure that his heart was okay. He had the irregular heartbeat during the game, went to the hospital at halftime pretty much for precautionary reasons, and then he came back today, or he's going to come back today. Sean says he's healthy and is going to be fine. That is great news, first and foremost, for his health. And then second, that means he has a chance to play this week. And we saw how important Quinn is, as he's literally the best offensive lineman in the AFC, according to Pro Football Focus. So I'm not quite sure if him being back and him being, quote, fine and healthy means he's going to play this week, but his health is the number one priority there.
Yeah, obviously, like, I'm not a doctor. Especially not like a heart doctor. But I do think that there's like things that happen to a heart where like you just get weird heartbeats. And I've had like friends who that's happened to. And if there's no like other issues that they find, it's really not that big of a deal. It's just kind of freaky whenever it happens. So again, I am certainly not an expert on human hearts. But I do think that like if they're clearing him, if they're not worried, if they're sending him home, to me it seems like he should be fine to play.
Yeah, we always got to watch out for the big boys. I feel like
they
usually have other issues. I mean, we all have the same size heart, but his is pumping a lot harder.
There's a lot to pump
a lot more blood going through that big body. So, yeah, I'm glad that he's doing good and he's healthy. I don't have any thoughts on the diagnosis because, like you said, I'm not a doctor, but it is good that he's doing good.
We know that belly's gained about 15 pounds in the past year, too. So you're always just a little more cautious with those big guys, like you said, Todd. We did not. Sean decided to not comment on Nick Benito's knee injury. Apparently, I believe, according to Chris Thomason, he left yesterday's game in a brace, or he left the locker room after the game in a brace. We know once he left, he did not return with the knee. Sean not deciding to comment on that this morning when we talked to him. I don't know if you want to take it one way or another, but the fact that he commented, here's how I took it. He said good news about Quinn Miners and then decided not to comment on Nick Benito. Maybe it's just because there's more testing that needs to be done or something, but crossing our fingers that Nick is going to be okay there because he's key, especially with now kind of a 3-man rotation at outside linebacker.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, when you see somebody get carted off with a knee injury, your brain always goes to the worst possible place. And so we'll see what happens. Hopefully he's fine. But, yeah, I mean, they don't really get much of a rush when they just rush 4. That's been an issue all season. And, again, like it's not like Nick Benito was the star of the group. I know he has the most sacks, but a lot of those are just him kind of being unblocked for reasons that don't make any sense because he's one of the best unblocked defenders in the NFL. He's just so fast. But yes, you'd like to have him, but even with him, you're still looking for answers how you're going to get to the quarterback unless you blitz a lot, which they did yesterday and it worked.
Yeah, exactly. And Todd, speaking of blitzing a lot, you want to announce what we're doing tomorrow? You ready for that?
Yeah, I think it's time we could do that. We are gonna have two very special guests on the show tomorrow. Two of my friends that definitely have done an amazing job on this defense and really are like the catalyst for the turnaround that this team is making. So Alex Singleton.
I know, Alexander. We're calling him Alexander now.
Josey Jewell are going to join us on the show tomorrow. So stay tuned in. It's going to be a great show.
Let's go. Special show tomorrow at noon. We're going to have those guys in studio to do a show with us. And Russ, after the game, he pointed to the leadership of the defense and said, Justin, Alex, and Josey.
Yep.
We're going to have two of them on tomorrow. I'm so pumped. And not just because they're great players on the Broncos defense, huge in this turnaround, but they're also awesome dudes. And I mean, your former teammate, one of them, and the other now a good friend as well.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a blast. We're really going inside with the inside linebackers on tomorrow's show. Other takeaways from yesterday, one thing that we talked about but didn't talk about how impressive it was. Last week, the Broncos were 0 for 11 on offense on third down. Awful. Yeah. Terrible. This week, they flipped and held the Chargers to 0 for 12 on third down. It's only the third time in the Broncos' history they have not allowed a third down conversion. This is just another thing that showed how impressive the Broncos' defensive performance was.
Yeah, you win and lose the game on third down. A lot of times you can look at like turnovers or that third down percentage, and that kind of tells you how the game is going. 0 for 12 on third down, 1 for 5 on fourth down. Defense was just playing with their hair on fire, wasn't giving up much. I know they were pissed about the 7 points that they did give up, but I feel like overall they played like a really great game.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. I mean, they did play a good game. I think, again, it's that blitz that I keep coming back to, which it's covering up some issues with that pass rush, but it just worked over and over and over again, especially on third downs. And I don't know. They haven't posted the All-22 yet, but I'm excited to go back and look at that later tonight.
So, Todd, why can't this be sustainable in terms of the blitzing? Is it once you get to a certain quarterback that you can't do that with? Is it once you get to a certain offensive line that's maybe good enough to cover those holes? Is it once you get to where a team doesn't just have Keenan Allen and has more weapons that you have to do? What is it that you have to change and you just can't bring the heat like Vance has?
I think he's been doing a great job of it, and he keeps it it's tough for offenses to kind of figure it out because they have 8 guys lined up on the line. You really don't know who's coming. So it's pretty sustainable. The only thing that really stops it is a quarterback that is very decisive with the football, because if we have all those guys lined up and he's getting the ball out before anybody gets home, that's when it just stops working. If you have a really solid pass protecting running back, I feel like our linebackers have done a great job whooping these running backs time and time again on one-on-one blocks. If you have like a really dominant, pass blocker, I think that's where it gets tough. But other than that, I mean, if we keep these teams in third down, I don't think it's a play you can run first and second down, but if you can keep them in third and long, we can really be successful with it.
Yeah, and the big thing to me is this week, because they play the Lions with Jared Goff, and that's one of those offenses where the blitz might make a difference, because Jared Goff gets the ball out faster than just about any quarterback, whereas Justin Herbert is like dead center, middle of the league, and the difference is like it's 17/100ths of a second on average in the time to throw. But you look through all those plays yesterday, I mean, like Ja'Quan, the strip sack that he picks up and returns for a touchdown, if he's there 17/100ths of a second earlier, that doesn't get overturned.
Right.
Like that stands. And all of those plays, is the arm going forward? Is it right here? Like those margins are just so slim that against a team that wants to throw the ball downfield a little bit more, like the Chargers, you get that extra 1/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second. That can make the difference on those blitzes. Whereas with the Lions, they don't throw the ball deep at all. They keep it all underneath and they get it out fast. And if it works, if you can blitz and get there on time against the Lions, I think you can do it against anybody. And I think that you really found something that you can build off of.
Another thing that Sean pointed to after the game yesterday of being able to be this aggressive with bringing guys is just not having the most mobile quarterback. Justin Herbert's pretty mobile, especially for a pocket passer, pure pocket passer. He's very mobile. But if you go against a Lamar Jackson and you bring 2 guys up the middle and he's able to get out, you're hosed. Because then any spy that you would have for him is now gone, and he probably has 20, 30, 40 yards of open field. The good news about this week, Jared Goff is about as immobile as a quarterback as you're going to get. So I agree that you can continue this week. Maybe the Broncos are facing Easton Stick, right?
That was
Easton
yesterday,
Stick, in 2 weeks. Because Justin Herbert is now officially going to miss this coming week. So maybe he's just going to be out for the rest of the season. I'm not sure. A broken finger suffered in yesterday's game. And then you have Aiden O'Connell. He's not mobile either. And then I imagine the Patriots are going to be rolling with Bailey Zappi. Not the most mobile guy either. So this aggressive mindset, I don't think there's any reason that it has to go away.
No, I think it'll be our... Yeah, I think Vance has been running it kind of all year long. But I feel like as the season progressed, he's becoming more and more successful with it. And I think it's really rush and coverage because you see the corners, they're sitting on all the routes. Like, basically, if you don't get the ball out now, like, we don't even care if you run a vertical or a go or a 7 route. Like, it has to come out now where it's not there. So I think everybody is kind of finding their footing within this, like, blitz scheme.
Yeah, and they've just gotten so much I mean, Ja'Quan's gotten so good at it. Like, PJ's gotten so good at it. You know, somebody pointed out Justin, like, I was so excited when I saw Justin get a chance to blitz because he's like the kind of the last guy you send. It seems like he spent so much time just sitting back there. Like for him to get the chance to go up there and make a play, like they've all just gotten so good at those blitzes too. I mean, you see Alex and Josey up the middle. It's insane. Like that's the other piece is you run it, and all of a sudden they've gotten really good at it.
You know what's funny is I feel like, you know, if J-Mac comes or Justin comes or even PJ comes, like, feels like they're kind of unblocked off the edge and kind of nobody takes them into account when they're rushing. But I watched the tape and Pat actually blitzed like 3 times.
Did he?
But every time somebody came off to get him. Like he didn't have the same free rush that everybody else had. I was like, oh, that sucks.
Well, the other thing, Ja'Quan, he had a bunch of those blitzes where it was like his decision. It was like an optional blitz where he'd like take a step forward and then drop, or he'd drop and then like rush a little bit late, which is probably the last thing you want to do. But that also has to be new. There's no way they were telling Ja'Quan, like in his first couple starts, like, just go out there and see what you like. Like, it's up to you to decide what you want to do. But at this point, they just trust him.
Well, he's playing man. He's in man-to-man.
Oh, it's the running back.
So
okay.
It's called like a green dog, basically.
There you go.
If you have a man and he stays in the block, you can add on to the blitz. But sometimes you get caught in this situation where you don't know if he's blocking. He hasn't touched anybody yet, but he's kind of coming out. So you don't want to like blitz and all of a sudden he's the leak out, you know, and the quarterback dumps it off to him. Then you like he goes for 45 and you're like, dang.
Well, how do you avoid that though? Because at some point in your blitz, you got to decide if you're going 100% in. And I mean, couldn't that just be like a really good play by the running back? If he sits, then once he recognizes that J-Mac's coming in all the way, then he leaks?
Yeah, they could be, but they say to green dog to your man. So just because if your guy's blocking on the left side, don't just try to run anywhere you see an opening. Like literally run to his hip, and if he's blocking off his hip, then that's where you take the angle. So like if you get caught there and you see you have like just enough time to like bounce out if he bounces.
Yeah. Or if you see him bounce out, that's when you give him a shoulder or something. Try to get him down instead of like him blocking you. You're kind of blocking him to keep him in. Interesting. I love it. And we're talking about how good this defense is. Just how good is it right now? Is it a top 5 defense in the NFL? Is it the best defense in the NFL? Let's get into that after I tell you about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, where we're going to dish out our DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week in just a second. But if you're all in on the Broncos, buying the 6-1 hype in their last 7 games, there's some juicy lines over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Like, how about this? You can pick the Broncos to win the AFC West over at DraftKings Sportsbook. What would you guess the odds are for the Chiefs to win the AFC West? They have 1 game up on the Broncos now. And the Broncos to win the AFC West.
I'll
tell you, the Chiefs are very minus.
Yeah, I'd say Broncos are like plus 900, I would guess.
Okay. What do you think that'd make the Chiefs?
Oh, boy, that's math. It wouldn't be minus 900. It would be more than that. It'd be the minus like 1,300.
Okay.
Same. I'm not.
Chiefs are minus 1,600, meaning you have to bet $1,600 to win $100.
No, I'm not
I would
doing
stay
it.
so far away from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Broncos are plus 750.
Oh, okay.
The Broncos are 1 game back of the Chiefs, and they're plus 750 to win the division. So if you want to get in on that and so many other odds over at DraftKings Sportsbook, check them out and use the code DNVR when you sign up in order to get $150 in bonus bets. It's actually $200 in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet over at DraftKings Sportsbook on anything. They're going to give you $200 in bonus bets after you use the code DNVR at sign up. So check them out, DraftKings Sportsbook. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. And Connecticut help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Licensee partner, Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
I feel like if I had like an extra like 16 million or something like that, I would take those odds just to get the paycheck because you know it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
You make a little bit of money, you risk a lot, but at the same time, like it's kind of like a guaranteed win.
Damn, Todd, you're not a believer.
I believe that we're going to make the playoffs, but I just feel like the Chiefs have to lose to the Raiders, and I don't see that happening. Even after last night, I don't feel like the Chiefs will lose to the Raiders and the Chargers.
That
will both have to happen for us to win the division, right?
Probably. Or at least like one and then another loss somewhere if the Broncos win out. But the other losses would be like to the Patriots or something, and that's not probably going to happen. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
Oh, wait, is it not going to happen because the Patriots is a guaranteed win?
Oh, boy. They weren't a guaranteed win last week, were they?
They weren't.
Beat the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers are trash, man. Mike Tomlin has done a great job covering up holes, but it is unraveling now.
Yeah, it might be his first year with a losing season.
If
that's the case, he needs to check out our friends over at Breckenridge Distillery and get himself some Breckenridge bourbon. The official bourbon of the Denver Broncos contest. They have the Battle of the Broncos blends, the Ed McCaffrey versus Alfred Williams. You can vote in your favorite to win Breckenridge Distillery and Broncos swag. You can enter at BreckenridgeDistillery.com/Bourbon of Denver Broncos / There's dashes in between each of those words. Don't forget them. And if you win, you can win 2 tickets to the Breckenridge Bourbon Whiskey Suite for the Broncos versus Chargers game. And if it's anything like last night, it's going to be a phenomenal game to watch if you're a Broncos fan. And if you could be there, you definitely want to be there. Along with their bourbon, they also have vodka, Ricky Seltzers. They have the world's highest distillery. Go check out our friends at Breckenridge Distillery. Their products are available in all 50 states. You can shop your local retailer or visit BreckenridgeDistillery.com to find the Breckenridge Distillery bourbon, whiskey, vodka, Ricky Seltzers near you.
Boom. All right. Since the awful start where the Broncos were giving up 36 points per game.
Disastrous.
Actually disastrous. Yes. A great word choice there,
Thank
Henry.
you. Yeah.
The Broncos defense has given up an average of 15 points per game since. Is that a fluke?
No, not anymore. It's definitely who they are. It seems like the fluke was the 70-point game. Like that was the fluke. Now,
if that wasn't a
point,
fluke, that would be a problem.
I mean, we've definitely had to change around some players and move some pieces around, but I think they found the right mix of guys. It's crazy that we had all this talent on the team to start the year, but it wasn't positioned like this. So it's good to see it all coming together, and it's looking really, really good.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think at some point we need to do like rankings of like which jerseys to buy. Like if you're getting a new Broncos jersey, like we could do it before Christmas or something, which would make sense because I think it's tough right now. Like you go through that whole defense and so many guys have made cases. Like a Ja'Quan jersey, all of a sudden that doesn't sound like an insane thing to buy. Like the linebackers are doing their thing. Like the defense, like you just have so many players who are stepping up and making plays and look like studs. It's pretty crazy at the moment.
I'm getting a Vance Joseph jersey.
What would that even be?
I don't
like
know.
You get the old like CU Vance Joseph jersey.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
He never played in the NFL, right? Oh, he might have for a minute.
He did for one off season, or maybe an off season and a year after that. Maybe you get his number in college, put on a Broncos jersey. I don't know what
Jets
it is.
And Colts, 1 year with each.
Jets and Colts.
So you could give Vance Joseph. Oh, that's gonna be tough to find. I don't know if people like pictures of him back then.
But Vance has done an incredible job, literally turning this into an elite defense.
Yep.
Now the numbers, you look for an entire year. They're awful, and there's really nothing the Broncos can do because of how bad that start was.
Yep.
The numbers for the year are never going to reflect how good this defense is right now. That's why we're not really looking at how they are right now. And credit to Vance, the Broncos up until like 3 weeks ago were still the worst scoring defense in the NFL, giving up, I think, like 29, 30 points per game on average. Now, after their incredible turnaround, they are the 23rd best scoring defense, so still bottom 10, which is crazy, giving up an average of 23.8 points per game. But I think they're way closer in the conversation in the top 5 than they are with where their overall stats are right now, because of how they've been playing for such a prolonged time. That, Todd, I agree with you. It's not a fluke anymore. Maybe after 2 good games, you're like, yeah, it's still a little fluky. But now, no, it's not. So here's the top 5 defenses in the NFL in terms of points per game given up. Tell me if you think the Broncos fit among this group. The 49ers at number 1, giving up 15.8 points per game. The Baltimore Ravens at number 2, giving up 16.8 points per game. The Kansas City Chiefs at number 3, giving up 17.5 points per game. The Dallas Cowboys at number 4, giving up 17.9 points per game. And crazy enough, the Minnesota Vikings at number 5, giving up 18.6 points per game.
I think the Vikings are pretty comparable. I think a lot of it is like that Brian Flores scheme just reminds me a lot of what the Broncos are doing recently. And that might be it more than anything. But the 49ers, that's a great defense. I mean, as excited as we can be about like Pat Surtain, they've got Nick Bosa, like cancels out Pat. You look at Fred.
Excited as you are of Randy Gregory on the Broncos.
Oh boy.
You're excited about Randy Gregory on the 49ers.
You've got like Fred Warner right there in the middle, so they can like match your all pros, and they have that depth. Like honestly, to me, like the Cowboys would probably be my pick for the best defense in the league. Like the way that they get pressure, the way that they force turnovers, like they just have everything going. Maybe that's a little bit of recency bias after watching what they did to the Eagles last night, but those teams are really, really, really good. And the Broncos are right up there too, but those teams have been almost flawless this season.
So Cowboys had a great game last night, holding the Eagles to 13 points.
They sure did.
What happened the week before? You said nearly flawless? They allowed Geno Smith and the Seahawks to put up 35 points on them.
Yeah,
it's true.
So, I mean, I definitely think the Cowboys are a really good defense, because the 2 games before that, 10 points and 10 points is what they held those guys to. So you could say that was a fluke. But right now, I agree with you, Henry. I'd go San Francisco 49ers defense as the best one.
Okay.
You made a great case. They're giving up 15.8 points per game over the entire season.
Yep.
I think I'm going Broncos number 2. They're right in that mix right now for how good they are right now. And not just like this week, but, past 5 weeks, 2 months, essentially, is how good this defense has been, giving up 15 points per game. That's better than the 15.8 points of the 49ers, but I'll give the 49ers the edge because they've done it the whole year.
Yeah, I would say I'll probably put us at 3. I think that, we're definitely above Minnesota because we went toe-to-toe with them. Our offense wasn't as good as theirs, but then our defense outplayed theirs. Our defense outplayed the Chiefs' defense when we played them the second time.
Yeah.
So we definitely have to be ranked above those teams. And we're playing at an elite level. I just feel like, the 49ers and the Cowboys, they've been doing it all year. And I think one of those teams might be in the Super Bowl. So,
So no one's going to make the argument that the Ravens are a better defense?
Than the Broncos, I would. And the Browns probably too.
Oh, wow. Like I think
they outplayed the Browns. They outplayed the Browns.
But I mean, we were playing the Browns backup quarterback.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, it kind of matters though, just a little bit, right?
No, because their defense did nothing against our offense. Our offense outplayed them. So it didn't even have to be against us versus their quarterback. Like our offense dominated them.
How about the Browns defense past 3 games? 29 points to the Broncos, 36 points to the Rams last week, and 27 to the Jags this week.
They have fallen off. Yeah, to me, the big thing with the Broncos defense is just that pass rush. Like they're 31st in the NFL in pass rush win rate. That's just not. In the modern NFL, like you can't be the best defense in the league if you can't win one-on-ones pass rushing.
Is that non-blitz?
That's when you're one-on-one with a blocker. How often do you beat the blocker? And they win 30% of the time, which is 31st in the NFL. And that was before this week, so that might go up a little bit once they update the numbers. But it just that stat in particular gets to me. I don't think I worry about the run defense anymore. I think that I'm past that. but it scares me to say it a little bit. I know. I mean, Eckler did have 5 yards per carry yesterday.
He did.
Like there are a couple of those things where you wonder if it could show up again, but I'm not worried about that. Obviously, the coverage has been great, but to me, it comes down to just that pass rush where I can't call him number one when you need to send that much pressure to get there.
How many? I don't know if it matters. I think if you get a sack, you get a sack. How many sacks did they have yesterday?
The Broncos, 6.
Does it matter if it came off a one-on-one or if it was a blitz, or did we get to the quarterback?
That's fair. That's fair. But that's why if they can make that work against Goff, when Goff is just like trying to get that ball out quick regardless, then I'll be totally bought in. If you can commit to sending pressure on every passing situation and it just works, there you go. You solved the problem. But I just need one more game and I'll be there. One more game.
This is a great test because Henry, the Lions are great passing the ball. They're great at running the ball. Their offense is they have the 7th most points per game. They have the 3rd most yards per game. They can run the ball. They're in the top 5 in running. They're in the top 10 in passing. So they can do it all. If they prove it this game, then there's like no question on how good this Broncos defense is. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely think they are a top 5 defense right now. If you want to say the Ravens, because they've done it for a whole season, totally fine. If you want to say the Browns, I actually would push back against the Browns, but I think they're it's not crazy to say they're top 5. Now, Henry, how far would you put them down?
I think right around number 5.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard. I used to watch so much football, but now that I'm so locked in on the Broncos, I just don't have time to like watch every game, which is a shame. So I don't really trust my opinions on everything right now. But I do think, like, just looking around, like 49ers, the Ravens. Honestly, I haven't been that impressed with the Chiefs defense. But like the Cowboys are right up there. And then you could probably find one more. Like the Steelers you might put up there. Honestly, the Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean, the Patriots defense has been insane recently. What they gave up 18 in a win this week, and that was the most they'd given up. Like it was 10 or less for 3 straight games before that.
Yep.
So I think I probably have them at like 5 or 6.
Fair.
If I knew what I was talking about.
Fair. And for you to be the most negative one about them and putting them at 5 and 6.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That is pretty good. Speaking of pretty good, Breckenridge Brewery, we got it on set. Broncos Country Pale Ale, you definitely want this for your holiday season. You're going to be going to parties, and you're going to want to get your hands on some Breckenridge Country Pale Ale, or Broncos Country Pale Ale by Breckenridge Brewery. So check them out, breckbrew.com. Their beer locator, top left-hand corner of the screen. It's going to show you not only where you can get Breckenridge beer around the country, but where you can get specific beers. So if you know that your uncle really likes IPAs, well, you can go and find exactly where you can get that IPA. Porter season is right around the corner here as well. So check them out, the official beer of DNVR at breckbrew.com.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of those at the Christmas party.
Yeah.
I'm going to be drinking a lot of those.
I thought you only drink when there's sports on.
Buffs play that night.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go.
There we go.
Weird how sports are on every single night.
That'll be the SDSU game against Albany too, the other semifinal. So that'll be a lot of fun that night. I'm gonna make some money. Where'd this go? I had a quick little quiz that I wanted to give you guys, but here we go. How many net carbs do you think are in a slice of the top selling white bread?
Net carbs, white bread, a lot. 22.
Okay, Todd?
46.
13. Oh. Guess how many in Hero bread?
I'm going to go 2.
Sounded like the way you look like that was right.
It's 0. It's 0. They have no net carbs. So every single slice, you save 13 net carbs, 2.5 grams of sugar, 25 calories, you get an extra 2.5 grams of protein, like 10 times as much fiber. It's all good stuff. And so whatever you get from Hero Bread, whether it's the seeded bread, the tortillas, classic white bread, buns, they've got like bundles and all that stuff too. It's just way better for you.
Bundles for their buns?
Yeah, this one actually, what is this? It has buns. It has classic white bread, seeded bread, classic hamburger buns on top of the hot dog buns. Well, not like literally on top of, and then the tortillas as well. So you can get all of that. It's called a gift box. There you go. And if you use the code DNVR, you'll actually get 10% off from Hero Bread. You can go to hero.co to pick that up. Again, that's code DNVR to get 10% off.
Boom. There we go. let's get inside with
do
the
it.
inside scoop where Todd takes us. We just talked about the big picture of kind of what's going on with the team. Let's get as in-depth as possible by jumping inside with our inside linebacker, Todd Davis, to break down the key plays of how the Broncos were able to destroy the Chargers yesterday. Todd, where are we starting?
So this is it's a pretty big play to start the game. This is 3rd and 7, first quarter, and this is the interception by Jonathan Cooper. And I know Hank's going to love this because I think it's only 4-man rush, so they do get home.
They actually did on this one.
He's going to deny it. He's going to deny it.
I wrote all about this. I wrote that. I wrote this is the one play.
So this is a good play. I don't have any intermediate pictures, but this is a good play to see because it's a stunt here. So they call it like they're slanting out, and you're going to have him run what's called a big text. So he's up and under. And the big thing about this big text is that it allows for people to have one-on-one. So Baron Browning is going to have a one-on-one on this tackle, and also Nick Bonito is going to have a one-on-one here. And what this text is doing is he's securing everything inside and then all the way around. So if Jonathan Cooper wants to do an up and under, then the text is just going to come all the way around and secure that other edge. If he wants to stay outside, it's going to open up this hole for this text to come all the way around and Nick Bonito to find a lane. So they're being very creative with these, and they're doing a great job with it. The reason why this play works is because Baron Browning has a one-on-one with this tackle because Zach Allen is also slanting, and what he's doing here is he's giving him a one-on-one with this tackle. So if he chooses to go outside, then Zach Allen's just going to eat up this B gap, this second interior gap. But if he chooses to go up and under, then Zach Allen just comes around him and has contained. So although there's a lot of moving parts, everything is very sound about how they're going about this blitz. So what you see here is kind of, Baron Browning chose to come up and under his guy. This is the tackle that says he's beating. You have Zach Allen coming around to half contain in case Justin Herbert tries to run out. And just in case Justin Herbert thinks like this side of the line is crashing, I'm going to evade this way. Nick Bonito is coming around, so he would have had to sack on the other side.
Yeah.
So it's very, very sound as far as how this defense is coming around and making plays.
And boom, that's a great way to negate even when you play good running quarterbacks.
Exactly.
That's a good way to negate that. I love that.
So this is a 4-man rush. Henry said they can't do it, but I think this is proving that they
Wait,
can.
what happened on this play?
I think
How did it end?
I think it was an interception on the 3-yard line.
Yeah.
Wow.
You read my story, you would
Henry
have known
doesn't
all
like
about
those.
it. Yeah.
Oh, I read your story.
But yeah, it ends up being a great play. Jonathan Cooper, I think he leaves the game after this, but ends up being a great play for the team, puts us on the 3-yard line. Our first score of the game, I don't know if we score this early if we don't get this play, so huge play for the team.
Yeah. That
Huge
was
play for the
also,
team.
that was wacky because you saw Cooper come down really awkward and you're like, oh my gosh, is he okay? And then it looked like he was hurt. And then just the next shot of the TV caption was him just like dancing. You're like, oh, okay, good. But then he did stay out, but he did return, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you see him after the game? He was really funny about it after the game.
What did he say?
I can't remember who posted it. It was probably Troy Rank. Basically, he was just talking about how bad it hurts. It was funny. Go find it on Twitter when this is over.
Funny.
No, he was funny about it.
Okay.
He was funny. I would have been whiny, but he was funny.
Well, I'm glad he was able to return.
Yes.
Yes.
This is another great play. This is the touchdown to Courtland, a long play. And I think Russ actually does a great job here of recognizing who's blitzing and who's not. As I feel like as soon as the play is snapped, you can't see it on this one. But, they were always identifying Khalil Mack. He was the number one key to their game plan. But as soon as the ball is snapped, he looks exactly at Khalil Mack, and what is he doing? He's dropping. He's like, oh, I got time. I don't even know these other guys' names. Like, I'm going to take my time. I know McGlinchey, he's going to hold up. And the offense actually gives him 6.2 seconds.
Ridiculous.
To throw this ball. Tons of time. Shout out to the O-line. This is 4-on-5. We can get there with 4, but they can't. And, this was just a great pass by Russ, throwing it up. Courtland coming down with a great one-handed catch. This has become kind of their recipe to success, man. If Courtland's down there one-on-one, I don't think it's one-on-one. I think he's kind of open. So continue to do this and continue to make big plays.
He's also being held, and he's still open.
Yeah, he's the man.
Somebody on Reddit said that the Broncos should cut off one of Courtland's arms and attach it to Jerry, because Court only needs one hand to catch. He only needs one hand, so you might as well split those hands up.
But Hank, I thought you weren't a doctor. Would that work? Would you be able to do that?
It sounds like it'd work to me. I'm no doctor, but it adds up to me.
That play was so incredible because at one point during that play live, I thought, have they blown the whistle? Because Russ was just like standing there, so calm, and had over 6 seconds. That's nuts.
It is ridiculous.
When Khalil Mack's not rushing, he's not scared of anything. This is the big play. This is the touchdown to Troutman. This is just a great play design and a bad execution on their part. I think it was just a great play call. 3rd and 1, we have been trying to, rush up the middle. There was one we didn't get on a QB sneak. Everything was really downhill, so this was a great play called by Sean Payton. It was kind of reminded me of Peyton Manning's scramble on the goal line versus DeMarcus Ware in for the touchdown when nobody expected it. But the thing about this is that they were playing good defense, which it's the Chargers. They can't. They could actually have this play defended pretty well, because you're going to have the end completely scot-free, but he's going to go down for the fake, which is perfect what we wanted him to do. And then this corner, I don't know what he's doing, but hopefully he's not on the waiver wires today. so they run this great play action, and you see this defensive end. He has contained on Russell Wilson. So he falls for the fake completely, which is a great play design, because if he's right here, this might be a sack.
Yeah.
And it might be a bad play. And this corner has Troutman man-to-man. And I don't know if he was scared that he was about to block him or what, but he did not do his job and his responsibility. But once again, that is not our fault. They get paid to play football just like we do. It's a great play action by Russ coming out of this. And he's able to find Troutman wide open in the end zone for a touchdown. And this is what seals the game, puts us up 24 to 0 at the time, I think.
And last night, this doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't believe him, but Adam Troutman said that was supposed to be a run. He said it was supposed to be a run, and so when the ball was in the air, he was thinking somebody's going to be downfield, it's going to be an illegal man downfield, and this isn't going to count. And so I don't believe him, because that doesn't make any sense, because he ran a route, Russ pulled the ball, but that's what he said after the game, talking to Scotty Gange with 9 News.
Because
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Or else he did something horribly wrong on this play if it was supposed to be a run.
Yeah.
I doubt on a run play, your tight end is just supposed to run past the defense and leave a guy unblocked, right?
Totally. Exactly. And if this is a run, Javonte Davis is running right here behind Manhurts. Javonte's run to the sideline.
Yeah.
He's not even trying to get the ball. Like, he knows this is definitely a design pass. He was playing with everybody.
I think someone's playing with someone, because you know what Sean told us this morning? You know how long he's been sitting on this play to run against this Chargers team?
See?
Since last playoffs, when the Jaguars made their incredible comeback against the Chargers, he saw something on a similar 4th and 1 that the Jags ran against the Chargers. He said he saw something that he knew he could use in this. And now Sean said, like, in this moment, we had to have this. I'm like, no, you didn't. You could have not got this, and you would have been just fine. The Chargers weren't going to come back with 3 minutes left. But Sean said this is when we whipped it out. And he had something really funny to say about this.
They really did on that one.
Sean did. He whipped it out. Yeah, he did. I'm not going to let you do me like that. Sean started, when he was asked about this play, Sean paused and said, God, I don't want to sound shallow, but there's nothing better than drawing up a play when it works like this.
And it was better. It looked beautiful.
Yes, it did.
All right, here's the next play. I actually have 2 plays that are very similar that I kind of wanted to break down. This is the blitz that we keep talking about. This is 2nd and short. The game's on the line. They know they're in the passing down, so it's very similar to like a 3rd down call for the team. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rushers, but you don't know who's coming. You don't know who's dropping, and that's what makes it hard on this offensive line to try and pick this up. They're in man-to-man across the board, and the crazy thing about this is Drew Sanders is in here as an outside linebacker, but he actually has this tight end man-to-man. So, as you're going to see as the play progresses, Drew's sitting on his man, and you have you have blitzers coming from everywhere. And that's the thing I was saying, like, they weren't accounting for Justin even showing up there. That's not something he normally does, but it was a great play by them and a great scheme by them because they definitely have enough blockers, but if you scheme it up to where everybody's eyes are looking at either the down linemen, the outside linebackers, the blitzing corner on the other side, then you have free runners, and the Broncos were doing a great job running this play yesterday, and then accounted for a strip sack right here by Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
I'm excited to go watch Drew Sanders in this game. Because this is like three games.
Whoa, clip that. No, we
exactly.
Can't lose that.
Exactly. That's the point. Is like this is 3 games in a row where he's gotten to play quite a bit, and I don't remember thinking once like, what was Drew doing on that play? Like
these were the plays he was getting. Honestly,
True.
So I'm not trying to like downplay him, but when you watch the tape, it probably will look like this, which is what he did his job. So
he did his job.
He did his job.
And like last week, there was one where I was like, okay, he kind of like ran himself out of the play around the edge, but it was like a run play, and he set the edge. And like if you're gonna screw up and go too far, like screw up setting the edge too hard and not like collapsing in too hard. So I don't know. There might be some steps there. Played 32 snaps yesterday.
Yeah, that's good.
How about it?
And I don't remember once thinking, what were you doing out there?
This is incredible.
I know.
Man, I can't wait to talk to Alex and Josey about Drew because those 3 guys couldn't be more different in terms of personality. As you guys will see tomorrow, if you don't know already, Alex and Josey are the life of the party. They've always got something to say. They're a blast to be around. Drew is about as quiet as it comes as a guy.
He is very, very quiet. I've done several interviews with him. Very quiet. Very, 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 very quiet.
I mean, he literally won a $50 gift card to like Outback Steakhouse or something.
Yeah.
Should have been to the DNVR Bar.
Should have been.
From Sean Payton for saying the least amount to the media during rookie minicamp.
Yep. And I don't even. He said it was intentional. I think that's just who he is.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it is. At some point, we'll have to dig into that because it's interesting for Josey and Alex too because Drew's playing outside, and coming into this season, honestly, like. What it looked like was happening was Josey's contract's up at the end of the year. Drew takes his spot next year. But because of the kind of hiccups that Drew had early in the season, now the fact that they're moving him to outside linebacker, you're saying Josey's like,
whoa.
We've all known
Sean
he's the
said
leader.
They're not moving him to outside linebacker.
Yeah, I know. But then you see him out there every game. And so it does make you wonder if all of a sudden they're like, wait, why were we trying to change up what we've got going on here?
Every game, I see what you did.
There was a little pause there. Every game. That's the only time we see him at outside linebacker. Every game.
Here's the 2 plays later. That was second down. This is now 4th and 19, 2 plays later. And it's the same exact play. But the good thing about this is they actually ran the blitz from the field last time, and this time they run it from the boundary, and that's not what many teams do. So it was a great call by Vance, but it's the same exact play. Everybody's lined up. You got PJ acting with his hands out, doing a great job, acting like he doesn't know what's going on. But you know he's coming on the blitz, and this is the same exact blitz. You got 2 guys dropping out, if you can see them. They're back here. You got a man-to-man. Everybody's man-to-man. You have a man that dropped out here, and you have P.J. Locke coming on the blitz. But it's the same exact blitz, just ran the other way. So this was a great blitz against not only the Chargers, but I just think a great blitz in general because they have a hard time matching up who's coming, who's blitzing, who's dropping. I think the Broncos will use this the rest of the season because it's working so well for them. This is also the scoop by Josey Jewell where he was running like he was walking. And I'll definitely get on him about that tomorrow.
I love that. PJ Locke, the first Broncos safety to have a sack in back-to-back games ever.
Dang.
How good have Broncos safeties been?
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Pretty great.
Yeah. I mean
take
you got
your
some
pick.
Hall of Famers.
Yeah, you really do. There's a lot of them back there.
And he's the first one to ever do it. And he's not even the starter at the start of this season. So it shows how good he stepped up. It shows the depth that they had at safety. And then it also shows that Vance isn't afraid to give young guys big responsibilities. We're saying that with PJ. We're seeing it with Ja'Quan McMillian as well. Everything is clicking at like 100% with this defense right now.
Yeah.
Rocking and rolling.
I hadn't noticed like that he was pretending he didn't know what the play was.
What is
That's so good. That's so good. Like that's just a vet move. You forget that he's a veteran too. I mean, he's one of the older guys on the team, which is crazy to think
PJ?
about.
What year is
He's
it?
not one of the
Year
older
seven.
guys on the team. What?
I believe this is year 7 for him.
No.
It's year 5. It's year 5. It's year
Yeah.
5. It is year 5. But still, like,
Yeah.
year 5. Like, you think of him as like this young guy, but he's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
It's also fun because like every day you see him just sitting in his locker looking at like film on his iPad. And it's just like all day, every day, and it's like, good for that guy to be to be the one making all these plays.
It's paying off, and if you want your career to pay off, check out our friends over at MSU Denver, where you can get an education, whether you want to go to school full-time, whether you want to go part-time, whether you want to start your education, whether you want to pick up your education where you left it, you can do that over at MSU Denver. They have over 90 majors, and you can also create your own. You can find your future and achieve your goals with an affordable education. So get in, because they are taking applications for the 2024 spring semester right now. So check them out over at msudenver.edu and be a change maker, and you can go and check your career or check out everything they have for your career over at msudenver.edu. All right, let's get out our draft kicks pick of the week right now as well. I'm going to keep this very simple. I'm going to go Broncos-Lions game. Lions opened up as a 4-point favorite. They're still 4-point favorites at home in Detroit. I'm not exactly sure my final score for this game, so I'm not going to go Broncos money line right now, but I am going +4. I love that it's a field goal game, you win this. I absolutely think so. Right now, I'm still riding the high of yesterday, so I think the Broncos are going to win this game, but definitely keep it within 4 points. So give me Broncos +4 against the Lions this week.
It is pretty crazy going back through what the Lions have done recently.
Like what?
Mostly they just haven't been good for a couple months.
Yeah.
But like they lost by 2 scores to the Bears yesterday. Oof. They squeaked one out against the Saints the week before.
Squeak.
Before that, they lost to the Packers on Thanksgiving. We all saw that. Squeaked one out against the Bears before that in Detroit. Before that, they won by 3 at the Chargers. Before that, okay, 2-score win over the Raiders. That's the Raiders. Before that, got blown out by the Ravens. Like they haven't done anything impressive in a long time.
No, it's a really good point.
4 points is probably a good deal.
6-1, I think.
Yeah.
And now they're 9-4. So is that 3-3? Their last?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
It's not
Talk
ideal.
about teams going in different directions right now, too. Now, they're still really good. Still have a top 10 offense, top 5 rushing attack, top 10 passing attack. Defense is better than it was last year, but they were the worst defense in the NFL, I believe, so it's easy to be better than that. So not a gimme, but definitely beatable, especially for a 9-4 team.
Yeah, 4 points is awesome. I'll take they still have money lines. Give me Montana +1 against NDSU.
You don't sound very confident.
No, because the money line, if this is +1, would be like +105, and I'd rather just take the +105 than -110 on the +1. Like, I don't need the 1 point because Montana's going to win.
Todd, did you see Montana 18-point favorite this past weekend?
Starts 17.5, closed at 14.
Oh, so people didn't believe in them, and there's a good reason people didn't believe in them. They got to overtime. Took them to overtime to win, and they were a 17-point favorite.
They're in the semifinals. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about how they did it.
I know.
Okay. Let me see.
What are you going with?
I think that the Jags are only 3.5-point underdogs to the Ravens.
Ooh.
And I feel like that would be a really good game. So let me take the Jags money line +154.
That's a fun one. That's a real fun one.
Who did the Jags lose to yesterday?
Browns.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco had the game of his life, of course. And now he's back on their practice squad.
Really?
Yeah. He got reverted back to the practice squad. I imagine, so someone doesn't pluck him, that they elevate him and keep him up there.
The thing is, I don't think he'd sign anywhere else. Because he knows he's a starter there. Who else is signing Joe Flacco?
Why would they move him down?
So he was on the practice squad before, so he gets his game check every time they activate him. They can activate him 3 times. So you can save the 53-man roster spot if you just tell them, hey, you're going to be active. You're our starting quarterback. Just don't sign with anybody else. You get the same game check, but we get this roster spot. And then once they play the 3 games, then they'd have to put him on the 53, but they can save a spot till then. They might just move him to the 53-man roster anyway.
I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some no-name guy that they can put on practice squad.
You would think. For the Browns, you would think.
Could you imagine if the Broncos are yeah, Russ, we want you, but we want you on our practice squad to save a spot. Yeah. If you're not saving a 53-man roster spot for your starting quarterback, what are you doing?
The thing is, Russ has a contract.
Well, yeah.
So they don't have that option with Russ.
Yeah, it's a little
They wish they
there.
did.
So check out our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR to get in on these bets. Do we have any super chats? Got a couple of super chats coming in, and before we hit these, hit us with the thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. We really appreciate it. Helps us a lot, and thank you so much for everyone rolling with us right now. Alexander Weatherford says, Broncos versus Lions playing to sweep the other division.
That's weird.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So that means the Lions have obviously beat the Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs. Yeah, because we saw the Chiefs won on primetime week 1, and the Broncos have beat the Vikings, the Packers, and the Bears.
Somehow beat the Bears.
Somehow. That was the turning point.
Somehow.
And also, somehow, when the Broncos played the Packers, it was like 2 of the worst teams in the NFL.
Yep.
And now both might make the playoffs.
I warned you. Not about the Bears. I told you the Bears suck. That might be wrong.
Next one coming in from Evan says, thoughts on the comparison between Russ and 2013 to 2017 Alex Smith? The stats are very similar. Is Kansas City Alex Smith level play worthy of Russ's contract?
Oh, wow.
No, because even Alex Smith was good and he made plays, but ultimately they needed Patrick Mahomes. Right. So I wouldn't say that, it's worth the $50 million. I think whoever the Patrick Mahomes type player deserves it.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And I can't argue with that. Because if you have a top 5 paid quarterback and they're playing to that contract and you feel very comfortable about it, no way in hell are you going out and drafting someone.
Yep.
And Alex Smith, to his credit, the year they brought Patrick Mahomes in, Alex Smith had his best year ever. I mean, he was like borderline MVP conversation, but they had already made the decision that they had Patrick Mahomes on the team. Before that, he was good. He was serviceable. He was winning games. Sometimes he would be the reason they would win, but other times it was some other guys on the team really carrying him. So, Todd, I think that's put perfectly.
Yeah, and he was never paid as much.
Right.
I'm just double-checking on 2017. I think he peaked in that stretch as like the 10th highest paid. Yeah, so he peaked at the 10th highest paid quarterback, and for a lot of it was like outside the top 20, which is a little bit different than Russell Wilson, who actually, I wonder where he does rank right now. Right now, he is the 5th highest paid quarterback.
Yeah.
He's number 5.
Yeah, that'll only keep going down, considering his contract hasn't even kicked in technically.
Yeah.
How wild is that? Next year is the first year of his 5-year, $245 million
I wonder
deal.
who will jump him this offseason. Because Herbert already got his deal.
Lamar.
Yeah. Yep. And Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Yep.
They redid Mahomes' deal, so he won't have that again.
No, he now dropped down below. He might have been below before.
But, I mean, they redid his deal, so they're not going to, do anything with him this offseason. What quarterbacks were the year after, what would that have been, Burrows?
Yeah, Burrow, Herbert,
Lamar. Tua? He hasn't got a deal.
Tua will
He's going to get a deal.
Tua will get in front of Russ. So Russ will go down to number 6 at least.
Who else? Was there one more quarterback in that draft?
Still too early for Trevor Lawrence, right?
Jalen Hurts already got his.
He already got his.
Yep. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, I think, would be, next offseason, I think.
Yeah.
Trevor could, if they wanted to.
Still paying a lot of money to Russ, though, regardless.
Yeah, that's very
Whole
true.
lot.
Next one coming in from Valley Bandit says, went to a Broncos bar in Hollywood to watch the game, and the vibes are real. We believe they can go all the way. Go Broncos and go DNVR. Once you get into the playoffs in the AFC, it's wide open.
Yep.
Like we've seen the Ravens barely beat the Chargers 2 weeks ago. In LA, the Broncos took care of the Chargers way easier than the Ravens were able to. Ravens are really good, but are they playoff proven? Do people still have questions about how Lamar's going to do in the playoffs? Definitely. The Chiefs, obviously, they're vulnerable. And then the Dolphins, they haven't beat a team with a winning record when they played them.
It's going to be a great run. If we can make it, it's going to be a great run.
So if you get a wild card spot, you're probably at the Ravens, at the Dolphins, at the Chiefs, or at the Jags. Jags would be nice out of that group. But if you're able to beat the Chiefs and get the division, you're home against the Chiefs, Browns, Steelers, Colts, Texans, Bengals, or Bills. Half those teams don't have quarterbacks. If you actually get the home game, I'm picking them to win at least one game.
Yeah, totally. I completely agree.
Which is, I can't even imagine. Like, I can hardly imagine playoffs. Winning a playoff game, though, that would be unbelievable.
Especially after a 1-5 start. My goodness.
Yeah.
Scott Edwards says that defense really Dickled down the Chargers. I had to. I had to pause to make sure I was going to read it right, because I know people are trying to do things to me.
Yeah.
And then we got Quinn saying, Henry, a shot at you, I think. Montana doesn't stand a chance against NDSU.
Yeah, have fun with that. Nobody wins in Missoula except Montana. That's just the way it goes.
Are they the number 1 seed? Number 2?
2.
Number 2.
South Dakota State's number 1. So play in Frisco for the championship.
Overlooking NDSU,
which actually, I don't think so. That Vegas game could actually be Saturday.
Which game?
The Vegas game at the end of the year.
Which one?
Vegas.
Where are we going?
It's
Saturday. Vegas. Vegas.
Still can't get it.
Okay. Well, okay. So Las Vegas, when we're in Nevada, that actually could be the Wait.
We going to Reno or what?
Well, you know where we're going. When they play the Raiders, I'm pretty sure it could actually be a Saturday game, which could throw a little kink in all of our plans. Unless anybody's trying to get to Frisco for that championship game on Sunday, in which case it could work out in a kind of cool way.
So we're going to have a kink in Vegas?
I mean, who doesn't?
And last super chat coming in from Dustin, who says, first time going to Mile High West. You could have heard a pin drop when we were on offense. Crazy. 11-6 until proven otherwise. Cheers, boys. If the Broncos win on Saturday, absolutely 11-6.
Yep.
I mean, I wonder what that parlay would be right now.
I mean, you couldn't. I wonder if there's an alternate win total.
There's on DraftKings, there's a lot of different things you could do. I'm sure you can find it. And I just want to get to a couple of comments on the website. We got 2 minutes here. And first comment coming in from our friend Foco Buff says, beautiful day to be a part of Broncos Country. Victory Monday as Mahomes is still boo-hoo crying about a correct call. So we were doing the live show when that game ended. So we could see Mahomes screaming and crying, throwing his helmet, yelling. But I didn't know what was going on exactly. I thought he was just losing his mind because he feels the Broncos right on their tail.
That's
but
what you thought.
That penalty, what'd you guys think?
I don't know, man. I feel like I would be pissed too if I was him, because the whole year it's not me.
Right.
You can't catch the ball.
Yeah.
You can't do what you're supposed to. And then on like the most important play of the game, you want to line up off sides? I'd be pissed.
That's the thing, though, is like, I get being pissed about that. I don't know how you're pissed about the refs. Like, I don't know how he's upset that they blew the whistle.
Was it like egregious?
Yeah, he was way over.
What do you mean you're not upset? You don't understand how they're upset at the refs. Do you see when any call for your own team goes wrong? Of course you blame the refs. Like, I totally get why he was pissed at the refs, but I think, Todd, you hit it spot on.
Yep.
He should be pissed at Tony.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, he was lined up off sides. And then the ridiculous thing, him and Andy Reid whining during their press conference, and Mahomes pointing to... I
don't know if you can see that.
He looks like a defensive player there where he's lined up.
He's a full yard. Like, the tip of his toe is like a full yard in front of the ball. That's just an offsides. You can't be mad at the refs for that.
I played receiver in high school.
Yeah.
And even I would like look to the refs, get confirmation that I was onside. Like, why isn't Tony doing that in the NFL with a minute left in the game?
Oh, you probably have better hands than Tony, too.
Oh, thank God.
Like, there's a real case that you should have been the guy out there.
And I understand maybe you want like one warning. Not week 15 or week whatever this is, week 4. Like, you should have it down of where you're supposed to line up and know where you're supposed to be. And you've been in the league for a couple years.
Yes.
There's no excuses.
It's
not close.
Yeah.
It's not close is the thing. And like, this seems like such an objective rule, too.
Yep.
Like, it's not like it's a PI call where it's like, he kind of got grabbed, but you didn't throw the flag. This one's like, just draw the line, and you can see that he's way in front of the line.
Yeah.
The rule is that you can't do that.
The Chiefs are losing it.
They
are crumbling. That's the first kind of maybe glimmer of hope. I thought maybe they do lose to the Raiders because of just the way they're going right now. And we're here for it. We're here for everything. The Broncos making a run in the wild card spot. The Broncos making a run for the division. We're going to be talking about which path is easier on Wednesday, but tomorrow we've got our guys Josey Jewell and Alex Singleton coming in studio. Make sure to tune in. Special start time of noon. So make sure to stay tuned. Hit us with a thumbs up on the way out. We really appreciate all the love and support. We'll see you tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.